can see the agenda and minutes. I do have spare paper copies if anyone should or hasn't got a device. So
I should have asked you.
Screens.
Would you like to introduce yourself and say a word, or would you rather not? So well, just say who you are and leave your part to tell her to that.
I'm just absorbed tonight.
Yeah, that's fine. Right, we are just at the other way. You know, and you will feel much better when you've been to one meeting and got it over with. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our May meeting of the Thetford Town Council Planning Committee. And it's a great welcome for two reasons. The first is that we are back live. For those of you who regret that or have just learned how to do the technology, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to go back to humanity. And it's also good that among the welcomes, we've got a new member of the council with us. It's Barbara Tullett, who is sitting among us. And we offer you our warmest welcome. I think that's all, except I presume from what you're just saying that are we actually going out live so people can see this? It's being live streamed, is it? Yeah, okay, so welcome to members of the public who may be watching as well. So moving on to the first item, which is 2005. Are there any declarations, please, of disclosable pecuniary interests? And I'll remind you that you're welcome to give them at an item for which it is relevant if you wish to, rather than at the beginning. And if not, on to 2006. Are there any apologies for absence, please, Mark Webster?
Yes, some apologies from Jane James, who says she may be able to join us later, and Jen Hoyce.
Thank you very much. Are there any others from colleagues, please? And if not, on to the next item, which is the minutes of the meeting of the 27th of April. We've had a chance to see those. Can I ask you if there are any emendations, corrections you wish to make? I keep looking at a screen. I should be looking around the room, but I'll get used to it. If there aren't, then I'm going to ask you, is there any objection to me signing these as a correct record of the last meeting? Okay, thank you very much, everybody. That will be done. So we move on to 2008, which is the meeting, the planning applications to consider, and I'll invite Mark Webster to start with the first one, which of course is A.
Thank you, Chair. So this is application number 0516 and 7, which is for Earl Street. There are basically two-bedroom flats that are proposed for the outbuilding of a Grade 2 listed building. As I said, hopefully you will all have had a chance to have a look through these notes. Basically, just to go through them, materials are largely to match the existing. Has been discussed with the Historic Buildings Officer, apparently. There don't seem to be any, much in the way of plans for landscaping the courtyard itself. But the applicants do point out in their heritage statement that the building in question is not really significant in itself. The listing is mainly, and at this point we shift over to a landscape view, Tom, is mainly listed because of the building at the front. So if you are looking at the screen, you can see hopefully my pointer, which, as I said, this is the building that's really deserving of the listing, if you like, and this is the outbuilding in question. So if you notice, it sort of goes from there to there, and the extension on that will go in this area here. So we will come to that in a second. So we're looking at that building there, as I said, and the extra bit goes on there to make, as I said, two flats, which are basically carbon copies of itself, one on top of the other. So just to zoom in a little bit further, as I said, 3 parking spaces in total, 1 for each flat and 1 for the existing house. Area largely to be moved down to gravel with some paving here. So there's the existing building, as I said, and a sort of similar version to go on the side of it. People may know King's Court here, so the just at the bottom of your screen, or just off your screen in effect, would be where the bowling green is, back at King's House Gardens. So the elevations as follows. Please do stop me if you want to ask any questions, but I'm going to proceed to the 3D view if nobody does, because I think it's probably the most helpful in terms of being able to visualise it. So, as I said, that's the existing bit, and that is the extension on the side of it to make an L shape, which you can see there. And they've even provided a view from next door, so the top left or middle left of your screen there is what it would look like from the courtyard, King's Court there. There is talk of demolition in the application, which sounds very dramatic, but the only real demolition is removing some of the cladding, again top right of your screen there, from the existing building. That's basically where the stairs are going in. So yes, the Earl Street, over to you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. I think it's appropriate to throw this open meeting to the members who are present to see if you have any comments, please. Stuart, you do.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I think it's welcome that they are trying to maintain what is left of the old barn bit at the back there. I don't think there's a great architectural merit to it, but it does preserve a little bit of the historic wall that is there. I note the comment there's no landscaping, but I think it's just hard standing mark that they've put it down to, because it's just going to be a car park.
Pretty much.
And
yeah.
But I think the most obvious thing will be vehicular access. You're coming out onto Earl Street there. It's quite a blind thing for those that come out of St Giles's Lane. It's quite hard to see around the corner as cars come along. So, 2 extra dwellings there and the associated traffic movements will cause an issue to vehicular movements in there. I know in the past we've looked at things such as this being overdevelopment. It has curtailed the garden of the existing property, but it was an old nursery garden centre many years ago, so that it's they had vehicular movements there. But I think that's probably the biggest concern is the vehicular movements.
Thank you very much. I think we might come back to that in a moment. Any comments from any other councillor, please?
I apologise for the black box appearing on your screen. That is Chris Harvey wishing to note that he did apologise en masse, as it were. So I will duly note that we have had an apology from Councillor Harvey. And apologies for the lack of apology.
Is there any councillor who really wants to disagree with what Stuart has said so far, or would like to add to it? Carla, please.
I just clarify, from the dwellings that currently exist there, how many parking spaces are for the current residents? And will the new dwellings impact loads on parking? Because it is right dead centre in town, so we will be, obviously, parking will be an issue. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, so they're saying 3 new car parking spaces, right at the top of your screen there, 3 new car parking spaces in total as part of this development, 1 each for each 2-bedroom flat and 1 for the existing 2-bedroom house. So at the moment, if you have a look at it, there isn't really as such a sort of designated parking space. You can sort of see what the yard is there for the house at all. So yes, you would basically would be additional parking compared to what is formally recognised at the moment.
Okay. If there's no more, can I try and sum this up, which is a bit difficult, but what Stuart has raised is the issue of access to egress, really, by the gap between the 2 buildings. It's actually currently it's a solid wooden gate. On the diagram there, it's a second arrow from the left, so the arrow on the right, if you like, and that's going to be worsened by the existence of flats and therefore more cars wanting to park and come out. And there's No parking on that side, am I right? So it's not really, they don't have to come out through cars, you just have to come out with great care over a narrow pavement and onto the road. As Stuart pointed out, it's a bit like St Charles Lane. It's not a good, there's not good visibility, and no chance of a visibility display being created because it would straight onto buildings on both sides. So I guess we might want to say that we are, I'm not putting words in our mouth, Stuart, but we are a supporter, but we are concerned about highway safety. Or do you want to say?
Yeah,
negatively?
I think we are definitely concerned about it.
And would you rather say we oppose it until we're clear that it's safe?
I think there's going to be some kind of development there at some point, and the scheme that put forward is a modest one, and having 2 dwellings, you know, I can see others being cramped in there. So I'd say support, but with concerns about the traffic.
Can we do that, Mark? Then supporter, but we're concerned about safe egress from the narrow space between the 2 buildings. Okay. Right. Well, thank you very much for that. So that was A and B, of course. So we're on to is it 0524 now, the Anchor Place item.
Yeah, so in case you're not sure what Anchor Place is, you may know it as the cinema complex. So we are looking at the river sort of running along basically pretty much along the top of your screen there. These are the areas, Captain Rain's about here somewhere, I think. And there's the cinema on the left, next to the road. This is a restaurant unit currently vacant, and more on that story later. And it's this area in question here that we're looking at in this application. So this is well, just look at this screen first of all. So there's not going to be a great dramatic change to the appearance of the building, apart from the word entrance being written in big letters on the entrance. There's relatively little changes, just on those glass doors there, in terms of the actual look of the building. So it's quite an interesting one, this. It's under sui generis, i.e. it's sort of doesn't fit in any of the usual categories. Apparently it's been, they've been trying to let this out as a restaurant for some time, lack of interest. And then this Kinetic Science Foundation have come forward and are proposing to occupy as a science activity centre, so providing sort of fun science things to do for kids, basically. So as I say, it doesn't fit into any of the usual categories. As I say, no dramatic changes, but yeah, quite an interesting sort of idea for a vacant unit, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Any comments, please, on Anchor Place that are from Stuart?
I'm just happy to support, really, to it brought into use and giving something extra for the town centre to offer.
Thank you for that. Anyone want to add? Yes, Dave. Agreed.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's very simple. Thank you, colleagues. So we are in agreement that we support this proposal. I don't think we need to say why, it's just basically saying yes. Okay, on to D, which is the extension on 20 Benbow Road.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So see property in question there and the plan of the site. If you want a sort of slightly wider context, there it is. It's one of the side branches of Benbow Road. Looking at the development in detail, if you look at the blue ellipses or circles, that's the additional bits. So top left there, if you're looking at it from the front, there will be this extra bit here, which is marked on here as a new sort of lobby area for the front. And similarly at the back, there's a wider or larger extension, again single story, which I marked here, with the roof light there. So as I said, it's basically a sort of larger kitchen area to add on to the existing dining room. The existing kitchen becomes a utility area and extra lobby.
Right, thank you. Again, open to colleagues, please, to comment. Dave.
I'd just be happy to support it. I don't think there's anything dramatic about it.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Stuart's agreeing, Carl's agreeing, Barbara's agreeing. I think that's certainly a majority. Okay, let's go for that then. We're agreeing with that. We're supporting that. And that does not bring us to near the end, because that's the items that we did know about. Now the items that you will not know about under any circumstances. So we're over the page if you've got a paper copy, 2009. This is a late planning applications received after agenda published. So it's back to you again, Mark, to tell us what new files and await us.
Yes, I'm afraid unless you looked at your email at the very last minute, this will be news to you. We've had a flurry of very late, I'm afraid. I'm not sure if they actually know when our meetings are, but it does seem to be interesting that often quite a lot turn up at the very last minute. Going back to Anchor Place, cinema again, on your left, and it's this one we're talking about now. So between the cinema and the proposed new science centre. So looking at the cinema from the back here, you can see that, and it's this unit here we're talking about. So again, currently vacant restaurant, but the proposal, which was accepted or supported by the Town Council at a previous meeting, was to allow it to become two sort of separate restaurants within that unit. One of which is a pizza place, and apparently for the hot pizza oven they need additional venting. So this area, again in the blue ellipse, has been drawn on exactly basically what they're looking for. So this additional kind of vent on the back, which would be sort of basically about there.
Can I just ask, is that at the back of the complex?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, so this
when
is...
I first looked at it, I thought it was in British.
It does kind of look like it, you're talking at the front. No, it's not facing the river, it's there. On this map, it's just, I've got it highlighted there. So it's facing the car, this is the access road to the car park just down here. So it is on the back,
I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Stuart?
I think it's a necessary evil to get the thing going. Just note that the rainwater hoppers and that there are more of a brown type or a grey downpiped colour. I wondered if we could get this toned down a bit rather than harsh black.
I mean, to be fair, they have drawn it in with probably the only available marker pen rather than not necessarily reflecting final materials. So I could check that bit.
Paint and make it a bit more camouflage.
Yeah. So request.
Hopefully.
So could they use a brown marker?
Yes. Request. Was it grey or brown in it, or
To
maybe
try
more
to
muted
match
colour?
the existing two
To
rainwater.
blend in with,
Yeah.
with the building.
Okay.
Well, that's pretty good. If there's no bigger complaints than that.
Okay. I haven't got any major surprises.
So
Honestly, I don't think.
Just indicate that we're in support of
Yeah.
that, but we'd like it to be toned down, as Stuart said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do that. Okay. Earl Street, it's number 32 Earl Street. So we're looking at the semi-detached. It's the first semi-detached there. You've got the terrace bit there. So we're looking opposite the entrance to King's Court. And this is the proposal. So it's for an extension at the back in this area here, which, as I said, I hope you can all see where the cursor is going. So looking probably at these ones are the most useful ones to be able to sort of give you an idea what it is. It's all at the back. So it's this sort of area here. So this bit and this bit. And I'm afraid I've gone for top down in this case. So we'll look at the first floor first. So there's the existing on your left and the proposed highlighted in red on your right. So this bit is only single story. This is the upper story, and basically it's a new ensuite bedroom there. Bedrooms 1 and 2 get demoted to 2 and 3, and 3 becomes a bathroom. And if we look at the ground floor plan, so again this is the bit where it is just single story here. That's the existing neighbour's extension. So this sort of larger kitchen dining area is added on to the existing living room and dining room in the on the ground floor. Yeah, so that's it for that one as well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this is not far off opposite the other earlier site on Earl Street. Any comments, please, on that proposed change?
I'd be happy to support that.
Dave, you're happy?
It's not visible from the road, is it?
We are suspiciously commonly saying, you know, we can't see it, so it's okay. And in a sense, you're right. It's not going to spoil what is also it's a very attractive streetscape, and it would be a shame to spoil it. And it's a conservation area, and it's good that this will not affect it. So. You were going to say the same?
No, I just had support. I just question. I'm interested why they've gone for the red timber cladding rather than the brickwork. But I presume the brickwork's quite mottled, so they could probably have difficulty matching the brickwork.
Yeah,
so they've gone for.
Yeah,
I'm not against it.
This is the side view, so I suppose it's fair to say that you would see that from the side. You know, the pale render and the red wood panels, as you say.
But the bricks are quite different to normal.
And we had that problem with the Cottage Hospital, didn't it? One of the reasons for demolishing it was that the bricks couldn't be matched.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So we're supporters, colleagues. Any objection to that suggestion? Okay. So I think let's cover that when Mark is saying the support.
Yeah. Okay. So 0648 application number. So this is for 64 Castle Street. It's called Davington Lodge. So if you look at Castle Street on the top, just showing up your picture there. So Zax's, or what was Zax and was the pub before, is at this end would be off here somewhere, and the turning for Castle Lane would be sort of down here somewhere. So we're looking, as I said, at as you come into the town, it will be on your left, opposite the lower bit of Melford Common. This is the garden. There's a large tree there, and this is where this cart lodge, as it's called, it's an open-fronted garage occasion type building is there. So this was a section through it. At the bottom left of your picture, plan at the bottom. This is probably more helpful again to visualise it. There's a picture at the top of your screen of what you see from the street. And at the bottom of the screen are the sort of elevations of the building. So, as I say, it's one of these sort of open-fronted garage type buildings, and it would be basically about there in the front garden. And that there is the large beech tree referred to earlier.
Right, thank you. Okay, so this is Castle Street. Again, Stuart.
Just, I know the applicant's side of this.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Any other comments, please? Okay, so we are, although we're a town of probably 30,000 people now, it's surprising how often one of us might know some of the applicants, and that's an important issue that we do our best to not to comment in those situations. It's normally thought to be wise not to do so. It's an attractive street with large residential homes, some of which have been added in more recently, but many of them have gardens that go right down to the river. I think this is reasonably well screened from the road. It will be seen from the front, so it is relevant. But unless there are any objections from colleagues, I'm going to suggest that we support that, but I think Dave wants to comment.
Yeah, it's just that I was a little bit alarmed by the colour of the wood, so I zoomed in and it says softwood weatherboard, so presumably it's not going to be luminous yellow or something. So I think it probably will blend in quite well, and I'll be happy to support that.
Okay, any views contrary to that? Sorry, Carla, were you saying?
No, I'm happy
You
to
haven't yet,
support
sorry.
it.
I just want to make sure I wasn't, if you weren't saying I'm shaking your head because I don't like it. Okay, so we're all saying that we support it, so we're clear on that one. Thank you very much, Mark.
Right, application number 0654, Thetford Golf Club. So we're out on the Brandon Road, out of town here. So these are the buildings in question. So that's the main clubhouse there, shop there, and this blue blob marks the spot where they want to put in a shelter, a covered shelter. So not actually a building as such, but a sort of roofed shelter. So as I said, bear in mind that's north, so that was up on your previous picture. This, as I said, is the main building, that's the shop, and this is the area in question. So those lines mark some supports for the structure. and that, as I say, is probably the most useful bit. If you have a look at the existing compared to the proposed, it's this bit here. And as I said, basically you can see it from the side here. It's there is a supported roof, which can be concrete interlocking roof tiles to match the existing.
Thank you very much. So, just a reminder to everybody, particularly those who may be following it virtually, that Thetford West and indeed the parish of Thetford do extend quite a long way further north than you might expect. So, well into the golf club area and along Munford Road on the left-hand side of Munford Road and around, in this case, it's Brandon Road. So that's still part of Thetford, and so we would comment on something like, for example, the golf club. This is a sort of covered passageway. Any comments on it, please? Dave?
I'm getting a bit repetitive, but I'm happy to support. It seems to be blending in quite well with the existing building and in keeping with what's already there.
Okay, thank you very much. I think Carlo's saying the same. I think Stuart's saying the same. I think we're all saying the same. Okay. That was
I'm not sure if I have to declare an interest. My son is a member of the club. I don't think he's got anything to do with putting this up.
Well, what it means is that your son will get wet less frequently. And other members too. Okay, so we're going to support that.
Okay, so application number 0037. This is the former Cottage Hospital, which has come before this committee before. So this is a change to the existing proposed plan. So apparently the doctors surgery are saying they no longer want the car park spaces that they previously asked for and the developer had agreed to provide. So the developer's proposal is that instead he will use that parking spaces for his other neighbouring development, which is the conversion of this snooker hall and the two-bedroom flat behind it, in addition to the terrace which runs along Earl Street here. So the proposal was basically that there would be access from the doctor's surgery to this car parking area here, but now it will come off the same road as off Earl Street again, basically, and it will be an additional car parking area for these people living in that residential area there.
Right, thank you. And any comment again? I'm asking this and getting very smooth answers. It's very good. Dave?
Support.
Support. Right.
That's really good, isn't it?
The same.
Welcome extra car parking for the development, and I did at an earlier meeting we have asked if pedestrian access to the doctor's surgery was something that we would think desirable, and by the look of it, it's going to be a blocked off thing to stop anybody getting pedestrian access through. I suspect they don't want the antisocial behaviour that may come as a result of the cut through, but it doesn't help in terms of moving around the town. And once you block it off, then you're never going to get it. So I'm just wondering whether it's a last chance to see if we can get some pedestrian access through there.
I think we need to say, in view of what you said, we should say that we would welcome the opportunity, the retention or the existence of a cut through there. It does save some pedestrians quite a significant distance. And if you're going to a doctor's surgery, it might indicate you're not someone who wants to be walking excessively. So it does make good sense, really, that we make that possible.
And I think just add the bottom of Earl Street onto Magdalen Street is not ideal if you're on a wheelchair or a pushchair to go around that corner.
Thank you, that's well pointed out. So I wonder if we can incorporate that. So we're saying, I think, that we are a supporter, as Stuart pointed out. It does increase the parking for this new development, which is probably a good thing in itself. We are supportive, but we are concerned about the need to look after pedestrians and cut through. Is it actually possible to get through at the moment?
Not at the moment, no.
So
you used to be able to go through on the trackway. So they blocked the gate off there.
That was done at some time.
And then the idea was this development, you would have the surgery access coming through, which would lead the potential pedestrian movement through there, although not demarcated.
Can you say therefore that we would welcome the reopening of access?
Provision of an opening or provision of access, pedestrian access.
Just to make someone at Brecon cry and say, well, give them what they want. That's not what I mean.
I just think the developer is to be commended because many developers would have
Drive
sort
over,
of
yeah.
a shovel on a couple of houses in there.
This is of course the same developer as the Odd Fellows Hall.
Yes.
And
yeah.
we came and come and
Came to
talk to
talk
us,
to us,
didn't
yeah.
he, some time ago.
Yeah.
Very, very responsible developer,
Yeah.
and I think we need to recognise that some developers are genuinely concerned about the good of the town and looking after the quality of the build and the appearance of streetscapes, and not doing too much in the way of crowding in. We get some of the others, but this is a genuinely good example, so perhaps we should be pleased to welcome what Stuart said and against Stuart.
I think just if that could be pedestrian access, could be a gate that's only open during surgery hours or something like that.
Good
Which is,
idea.
Yes, yeah, that sounds good. If that can be added, Mark.
I must say that I'm quite surprised that the surgery didn't want the extra parking spaces. Often we all quarrel about getting more parking spaces in this town, so this is the first time I actually, this is the beginning that I've been here, that I've seen somebody advocating extra parking spaces, which I think is quite unusual, but I don't know if there's a specific reason for it, but you know, either way, it comes as an advantage to the people living in those neighbouring buildings. So either way, then somebody will use it.
We haven't been given any reasoning, and it's just speculation if we say what the possible reasons are, so probably I'll avoid doing that. But I think we've got to a point there where we sorted that one out, Mark, have we?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're happy with that. And the third on Old Street in one day, that must be a record. And back to you, then, Mark.
Yes, well, we're on. That is the end of the lates.
Okay, so we're looking now at the next item, colleagues, which is 1010, decisions of variance. Are there any such things?
Yes, I'm afraid there are. For Subway, I'm afraid the town council's didn't get its way on that, in the sense that the application was approved as applied for the new access ways, reducing the number of doors from 2 to 1 and keeping it as a glass and glass and aluminium, I think it was, wasn't it? Frontage of that unit. However, I did actually sort of get some sort of progress and some agreement that Brecon Planning have agreed to use the Town Council's policy on planning matters, which does include sort of aspirations for shopfront design in future. They have actually agreed to make that material consideration, which is actually quite a positive step in that sense, that it will be taken into consideration. And Jack Weaver of the Great Thetford Partnership has also agreed to sort of take that into consideration as he's sort of looking to sort of enhance the town centre as well. So definitely was worth putting that forward, and hopefully that will be sort of taken into account in future. As I said, having said that, somewhere was approved as it was put forward. Just to let you know about the question of whether there should be access through the rear garden for vehicles for Old Market Street, the property on Old Market Street, or the front of Old Market Street, which backed onto Cecil Court. That's actually been withdrawn. There was quite a bit of discussion from the previous meeting of this committee. And said, probably to everyone's surprise, St Nicholas House, having been sort of approved on numerous occasions by Brecons in the past and this committee more recently, the Brecons have now refused the latest proposal for that site, and yet the reasons are sort of set out there. As I said, hopefully everyone's had a chance to have a look at that. There's more detail on the Brecon website. As I said, perhaps a bit of a surprise that, but they feel it would cause substantial harm to the residential amenity of immediate neighbours, and it's too prominent, basically. That's it for decisions of variance.
Thank you very much indeed. So we'll move on to the next item, which is items to be referred to the Greater Thetford Partnership, and I ask members of the committee if they have any items they wish to so refer. I'm getting no's that look around. We're able now to look at body language as well as conversation, and I'm getting some fairly clear views that There's no referrals. We wish to. And now Stuart, put a hand up.
I'm just mindful of what Mark has said about Jack Weaver's willingness to take it on board. I'm just wondering whether we can just make reference to it to just keep the iron hot really on that one about the notice that they are going to take it on board, better planning, and what plans the Great Thetford Partnership have to try and encourage shopkeepers to, because there is this scheme where shop fronts can be forgotten, but I've not seen too great an interest in Thetford to take it up. I think we did talk about last time the possibility of making all the shopkeepers aware. Mark, did we do anything further with that, or was that going to land?
It went to that was also sent to Brecon Planning and was included as a comment in the response to the Sudley application.
Because I'm just conscious that a lot of our shops are not owned by the people who work in the shops. Yeah. So if we are going to the shops, they'll just get passed on to head office. I think it needs to be a bit more of a determined effort to contact the property people of those various larger shops to say that this is because I think if you send an email or a letter, it'll just get sent to head office and then lost, rather than a bit more bringing up the person who is responsible, the surveyor or whatever, and saying we've got an opportunity here to tap into some money, make the place look better, and make the Thetford look better, which is obviously in their interest as well.
Certainly, if it leads to more footfall, and if we could demonstrate it leads to more footfall, that would be great. But certainly, we make it a more attractive town to compare more favourably with Durham or Attleborough or Diss or wherever than it currently does. That would be to our advantage. So often, I suppose, increasingly that would be much to our advantage. So,
potentially, could we ask of the DTV what their efforts they are actually doing, and we encourage it?
That may be also a matter of encouraging Brecon councillors to do the same. It may be another opportunity to do that in private conversation with officers or when next new developments come up. Okay, so I think leave that now in good hands, Mark, if we may. And assuming there are no others, colleagues, I'll just a brief pause. If not, we're going to go on to 1012, which is the Suffolk County Council planning application. I will make a brief comment about this, and then if there are any others, and of course any further information or news, I'll welcome that in a moment or two. But just a reminder, this is the proposed development of North Farm in Barnham, which is to open a piece of land for the extraction of gravel and sand. And much we fear of the traffic caused by that, the heavy goods vehicles will come northward. They have the opportunity to go south through Bury St Edmunds, but they're also likely to come north and perhaps more north, and that would require them to use what we call the Bury Road, and that means that a section of the Bury Road, the section south of the traffic lights on Norwich London Road, will be badly affected yet again by increased numbers of heavy goods vehicles travelling south to north. It's already extremely difficult for residents, and we did complain about that, and we had very strong support from Brecon Council. I looked on the planning portal before we started the meeting, and I could find no change at the moment. The application remains live. There's no indication of the date when it might be considered by Suffolk Council, so far as I could find. I had a feeling that we thought it might happen in the meeting in June, which I think was the 2nd of June. All I can suggest, unless you've got further information, is that if we learn anything in the next fortnight or so, I'll arrange that we communicate with all members of the council so that they're aware that something is afoot. But at the moment, I can't report any significant change to this proposal, which we were very strongly against when it first arose. Are there any further comments to that one, please? Okay, thank you very much indeed. Again, and we move on to the penultimate item, committee officers update. You have such a thing, Mark, please.
Yes, a couple of items. Just let you know that the Dolphin Pub, it's one of the higher profile sites in the town, I suppose. The 7 units rather than 6 application was approved, so that development can now go ahead. And just a few tree ones. There is Avenue Gardens. There was an application for pruning a sycamore there, which has been agreed. That's in the conservation area. As is Lambert's proposal for fellow eucalyptus, which has again been agreed. Hastings Close, a pine tree has been refused permission for them to fell it to ground level because it has a tree preservation order on it. Basically, there wasn't the tree officer obviously felt there wasn't sufficient reason to lose that tree, so that has been refused, and that completes the update.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Unless there are any comments, please pause. I'll move on to community engagement. Are there any suggestions, colleagues, that you think we should agree any consultation or any media release? It wouldn't be a first for this committee, but it would certainly be in common. Okay, in which case we'll leave that item, and I conclude the meeting by simply thanking our officers, Mark and Tom, who's been the technical man, and thank you very much all for attending. It's great to see you in real life. It's great to welcome Barbara, and the meeting, colleagues, is now closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.